not allowed after 7.
I got wife. Wife. She has a ladies' dinner, and she has to Uber pretty soon. So,
guys, you are in for a special treat. We have a co-branded show that I have aptly named this episode the Get Up and Awkwardly Scale podcast. And that is because in addition to my Kimosabi, as I call him off air, you guys, I always call Greg up and I say, "What's up, Kimosabi?" And he calls me Kimosabi. We're joined with the brilliant and handsome and well-produced duo from, you might know them from such bangers as the Get Up and Scale podcast, as well as two very successful entrepreneurs in the water sport space, the CEO of Tour Scale, Kai Kaapro, and the MFN CEO of Get Up and Go Kayaking. Right? Did I get that right? Is it Get Up and Go Clear Kayaking, or is it Get Up and Go just Get Up and Go Kayaking?
Just get up and go. That's
just
it. Get up and
just
go
get up and go. Because he's gonna get rid of the kayaking portion, and then it's gonna be like Get Up and Go cheeseburgers. It's gonna be get up and go. I'm looking at things in my room. Speakers. It's gonna be Get Up
There's
and
a
Go.
Cheeseburger in your room.
Sadness. Get up and go. Crippling depression.
Kevin, I appreciate that you got the names of our businesses right, because I recently had you on our podcast, which, by the way, is called Get Up and Scale. It's pretty good.
That's what I said. I said Get Up and Scale.
You got everything right. I mangled the introduction for you, if you remember.
It's okay. As we discussed pre-podcast, you get a couple things wrong, so I'm used to it.
Every now and then.
Every now and then. We were talking politics before this, and Kai's got some weird affiliations politically, but I can't really say anything about that because I've gone left and right and center of left, and there was a time when I was like reading a lot of Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber Manifesto.
Oh, that tracks.
I'm just kidding. No woke or alt right in this group, guys. We're strictly riding the middle.
Oh,
I was wondering. You sent me a package, and I had to shake it first.
Remember, last year at the Watersport conference, he was up there talking about the story how he's taking boats out of the water in the hurricane, and some guy showed him his penis, and he was going. Kevin, you went on this whole tangent, and everyone was just losing their mind laughing. It was the funniest thing. You would never know it's going to come out of his mouth.
This is like an average Tuesday. I love for Kevin too. That story was like, that's what happens on Tuesdays. People showing their penis.
He did. He tried to. He attacked me with the most scariest part of his body, and it was his penis. And I was
that
like,
the weapon that he used?
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah. It was like he knew that I meant business, and he meant a different kind of business, and I recoiled in horror. I'm like, you win. I will not attack a naked man. But yeah. So anyway. Do we have a topic today, Greg?
Don't take a sauna with that guy.
What's that?
Don't take a sauna with that guy.
Get in the sauna with that guy?
Yeah. Don't.
Oh,
don't get
don't get in the sauna with that guy. Well, no, this show is just kind of to introduce Kai and Justin's venture to our audience. We wanted to give Kai and Justin some time to get some episodes, kind of build up their show a little bit before we introduce it. There's a lot of crossover, I think, between what y'all do and what we do. So I guess just kind of start off. I mean, Justin, Kai, you want to just kind of give a little bit of background on why you decided to start Get Up and Scale and what you hope to accomplish.
Yeah. Thanks. Yeah. Thank you guys for having us. I think we've been on here a couple times each now, right? And
they've only had me on once, so
awkward.
Yeah, weird.
Perfect for this episode. Yeah, so we just tried to kind of replicate what you guys did and make it not awkward, right? And that was it. That was our whole plan. Like we're just like they made the blueprint. Now let's just do it not awkwardly. And we failed so far. Honestly, we failed. So no,
Miserably.
yeah, I think it was honestly like Brett's idea who works for Tour Scale and for Kai. He was like
Lil Brett. It's
Lil Brett. Lil Brett. He he came to us and he's like, hey, there's all these podcasts popping up around the industry. I think it would be cool to have a perspective of two franchisors talking about the worlds that we live in. And even though we're both franchisors, like there's a lot of differences to our worlds. And we've also just grown a network of people over the last few years that, we wanted to have on a podcast and be able to discuss things with them in an open forum. So that's kind of why we did that. And the hope is that we're kind of focused on scaling because that's where we're focused in our day to day. I think we've kind of sidetracked a little bit from that on some episodes, but the overarching theme is like, how do you scale your business, whether it's a tour business or not? And we're hopeful to have on a lot of people that are inside the industry and then outside of the industry that have scaled their own businesses or have helped scale businesses. And so that's kind of the origin of the Get Up and Scale podcast.
Yeah, I think Justin and I have talked increasingly over the years, as we got to know each other. And so we'd have these conversations like talking about these challenges, right? How do you grow your business? What's some good stuff to build your tech stack? How do you, lead a franchise? What are some alternatives to growth? And I think the thought was like, let's have these conversations on a podcast and share them with others and bring in new perspectives. And so, yeah, it's just like an open air workshop for growing your business, dealing with the challenges. And while our listener base, which, is dozens of people, by the way, are mostly from the tour industry, we're trying to bring on people from other industries so our industry can learn from them, right? We've had people running software companies, we'll be talking to someone who has like an event company, right? There's similarities between all businesses that apply to the sort of things we do. So it was important to us to try to expand the scope beyond just the industry that we're in to talk to people on the other side.
Have you guys gotten any leads from the podcast yet?
Not yet. We have like thrown out there that like any business is for sale for the right price. So, we're just, it's funny because like, I don't know, I didn't have any want to happen from this podcast other than I thought it would be cool to get to know Kai better and go back and forth on like things that I could be doing better within my own franchise. Right. And so, I haven't gotten any side little things out of it. If you guys want to sponsor our podcast now, we can open that conversation, but
we do.
We're just,
you mean leads? You mean
yeah.
leads like franchise leads from doing this?
Yeah. Yeah.
I've gotten one that called me up explicitly and said, like, there are people that we've talked to in the past, but then listened to the show and thought, oh, I need to call Kai. Basically, it reminds me I'm thinking about this. So I've got a couple calls like that. I mean, that's not really the purpose of the podcast. Like, it's not like lead generation for Justin and I. I think we are trying to build something valuable and share the conversations. But, obviously that's part of it, is kind of building our personal brands, getting involved, having an excuse to talk to people, and invite them and kind of have these conversations in the first place. This a big part of it too.
Yeah, no, we feel the same way. I mean, Kevin and I.
Not me. I just this whole thing is a soft sell for anything like I could come up with. Like if I felt like I could sell you guys pencils from the podcast, I'd be like, and what's crazy is like what's better than a computer is pencils. Like pencils and paper have really changed my ability to scale. I'm just kidding. I had nothing. I'm with you guys. I didn't, for the first few years, there was zero incentive really for me to do this podcast. And in fact, like there could be some people here in town that are like not the biggest fans of the podcast because they're like, stop giving away all the secrets. Nothing's a secret anymore, dude. There's this thing called the internet.
Yeah, literally.
We have it. We have all of it.
I don't like the whole secret thing, you know? I mean, it sounds weird to say because franchising is like literally come to us and we'll give you our secrets. You know what I mean?
You'll sell the secrets. Let's just be
yeah. But
you
like,
sell the secrets.
Is that what it really is about? You know, it's not like they're not secrets. It's like the secret is like the system of implementing it. Right? Every execution is everything. What franchises gives you is like an execution platform. It's like the accountability, the structure, everything just helps push it along, right? But the content itself, like how to build business, like all of that is public domain, and I think should be discussed. Best practices should be shared, right, across the industry, regardless. I don't think franchising is about secrets.
Well, I always think like podcasting, especially at like, let's just call it like the local band level at what we're both doing. Like I'm always like, where's the offer? I'm waiting for the offer, right? Because it's like there's either sponsorships or there's a product like, and so this is like kind of like a secret of podcasting that, you know, people may or may not know. Like at a certain level, like it's just out there if you're Joe Rogan, right? If you're Joe Rogan, it's like buy Alpha Greens and then they cut him a check for $10 million or something like that. If you're like a local marketing agency,
Athletic Greens. Yeah.
What did I call it?
Athletic Greens.
What did I say?
Sponsor. Alpha.
Did I say Alpha Greens?
There's Alpha Brain, and I'm really familiar with his sponsors. Sorry, I ruined your rant. Keep going.
Well, no, and I hate when people call like my stream of conscious like insights rants, you know, because it's like ranting is like not really what I do. Although now you and Bruce have called what I do rants, and I mean, if you guys want to fight about it, then I guess I'll see you in October.
That would be an event.
A stream of conscious insight. But I mean, I think we've all listened to podcasts where there's like kind of like a soft sell. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it, especially when you're giving away insight, you're having a organic conversation, and you're creating a community. Like what you hope, in my opinion, is that like that community can only grow insofar as hands get shook as a part of that community, like working with each other inside of that community, whether it be, you know, barter and trade, or whether it be like selling each other's products. So like building like a strong community, not just for education, but for products and services that you can really get behind. And I think that's just as important as the education piece.
Well, when it comes to podcasts, you know, we're all like mini influencers. I'm more concerned about the person than I am actually the show content, because yes, the content's great and it's entertaining, but what is that person doing? I mean, are they successful? Are they growing their business? Are they implementing things that are innovative? Like I look at our guest list for the forum this year, and I'm like, wow, these are some pretty incredible operators that have done some amazing things. Like, where can you go in like see and talk to like these really smart people all in one place? But it's like when it comes to like social media and who you follow, like if the person is successful, then, you know, you kind of like go from there, and then the content is just kind of ancillary.
Did you just catch that sweet soft sell Greg pulled?
Yeah.
It's about community building. I think
it's community building, and also like it's the person talking. Like Kevin and I, you know, I would say, and I'm not saying it's just Kevin's in front of me, but Kevin's one of the most, if not one of the most successful boat rental companies that I know. Totally. I mean, just the way that from everything from the marketing to the operations, the implementation of add-ons, like no one does it better than him. He's always the first to do anything. So, and I think a lot of people look like, I'll talk to people and they're like, yeah, I was on Kevin's website and he's doing this, doing that. And, you know, should I do this? Like they're modeling their business, their boat rental company off of your whole site. So, and it's same like I'm sure with your franchisees. I mean, Justin, you told me that, you know, some of your franchises your whole sites got copied word for word. And I'm sure Kai runs into this with other pedal boats and trolleys and stuff like that. So like, everyone is copying everything. I mean, hell, there's like these little mini OTAs that pop up all throughout different markets that literally copy word from word our content and how we sell things. So, everyone is taking it, and some of it I don't care, as long as it's not like confusing people. But like that's what we do. Like people are looking up to us, and the fact that they're copying things just goes to show that we're doing things right. It's.
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to pose it to each of you.
Yep.
So Kai, and this is like, I'm stealing this from another podcast I was listening to recently. But what would be your magic number if somebody came up to you and wrote you a check? What's your magic number, and what would you do afterward?
To sell the business,
the whole shlabang-a-bang.
Yeah, and how much I would receive personally, because I'm
no. I just mean like I'm not asking like your percentages or anything like that, but like what's your number?
I need to walk away?
Correct. Yeah.
Like if it was today. Probably 10 million.
That was mine too. And then what would you do?
I'd start another business. I would take a year off.
Yeah.
Spend time with my wife, do some travel, like try to relax and unwind a little bit. And then, I have so many business ideas. I'd be super pumped. The hard part would be picking which one to do next. But yeah, I would start another business and start on day one, knowing everything I know now, how to do it right from the beginning. Like that would be the exciting part.
Yep. Same. Justin, I feel like it's like a ridiculous number.
Yeah. No, man, I've thought about it a lot. Like, it would be hard to turn away 50 million.
I knew it. I knew your number was going to be so much higher.
It would be, you know what? But I would consider less, right? But that's like the number that I would be like, okay, fuck it, I'm gone. Like, let's do it.
50 mil.
Yeah.
And so
30. So 30. So if someone comes up with 30, and you're just like, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. Is that what you would say, Justin?
See, that's what I mean. Like 50 is like the definite. Anything less is like, yeah, I'd still probably do it, right? Like 10 to 50, I'd still probably somewhere fall in there. But 50 is like the, okay, no thought, I'm gone.
Yeah. Okay.
And so when you have kids, you're going to be like, it's 100 million, because I don't think you yet understand how expensive those little bastards are.
Yeah. Do you got some, what are your kids' plans, Justin?
Oh man, I'm gonna start trying by the end of the year. I think I'm getting ready. So 2025, we're gonna introduce some new little franchisees. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I can't wait to see how our conversations. I'm just excited to hear about this fun life you're about to.
Yeah, man. Like, man, I don't know, $50 million, bro. Like, how much would you honestly, like, truthfully? Would you make a go at making music again? Would you be like, think about if you had $50 million and knowing what you know about business and marketing, like you could probably, because I see guys doing it today that I used to be in bands with, and we're way like, they have like this much more money they did when they were in their 20s. But you could tell like 5 of them got together and they're like, man, we got real money now, boys. We got like 20 grand between the 5 of us. Like we're gonna take this band shit to the next level, like slick production videos. But
you asked the same question. So Kevin and I were in a car for 12 hours. We went to St. Augustine to visit the venue.
God bless you.
Yeah. So, but Kevin asked this question, and I said the exact same number that Kai did. And Kevin was like, he's like, well, what would you do if you had 100? Like, what would you do with it? And I said, I'd give it away, because all I want to do is go home, get my dinner and play video games. I was like, that's all I want to do. Like, why? I don't want to do anything else. Like, what am I going to do with this money? I'll just give it away, and I'll have enough to get my house renovated and make sure my kids are taken care of. We can go on some vacations, but like, I have no admirations to like,
you don't think you
start
would
big businesses. I'm going to be 40 next year. Like, for some, it's
your life is
like,
just starting. Your professional.
I know they're saying it's just starting, but like, I don't know when you start your business, but like, this is my 16th season running Trip Shock. Like, my 20s where most people were just like getting their career started, and I was like grinding 12-hour days every single day my entire 20s and most of my 30s. So like, to me, I would prefer to like have a nice savings that's generating some passive income, maybe on some investment properties, do some consulting. Like I'm not looking to start an entirely new company and concept, and maybe I'm not gonna say never, but like that is not something that excites me. So I'll get
you
if I get
say
ahead
that
of
right.
yeah.
That's why I say a year, because someone like you is similar to me probably. Like we've been grinding nonstop since we were young, and I've been putting in 60+ hour weeks like since I was 16 pretty much. If I think about it, if you include school as work, But like I feel like after hustling so hard for so long to just turn that off and do nothing, you think
Not gonna
that's
happen.
possible?
No,
There's
it's
no
not
way,
going to
Brett.
happen. But
That's why I said I'm going to take a year off, because I've said that before. I'm going to relax, hang out with my family. I'm sitting on a pot of money, and I'm just going to let it sit there in Vanguard 500. Like, there's no way I'm not going to be like, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Like, you're going to get so bored so fast,
See, now that we agree on.
Vanguard. We all
all my ETFs are in Vanguard.
Oh, true. Dude, way to go.
500 growth tech.
Ooh,
I would probably invest. That's where I would go. I would angel invest, because I feel like
that's exactly what I told Kevin this on our. I'd invest. I'd invest.
I would invest, because I feel as though like, to your point about what you guys are doing, I feel like scaling physical businesses in this, the economy, the platform shift that we're currently experiencing, I feel as though, like, especially right now, that there's going to be some just 100 baggers, 500 baggers. Like, there's going to be some really interesting stuff. I've always been more of I love to research stuff. I love to learn, right? So I feel as though, like, I would not do bad at being like, you know what? Because I feel like that's like my talent, is seeing talent in other people, right?
Yeah.
And you can invest in, whatever business Justin and I are launching. We'll take.
Cool.
Well, I mean, I would invest in like anything water sports or marina related, and there's a lot of great products that are up and coming, mainly because I can use my network and my influence to help sell. I mean, Kevin can't deny that the 3 years he spent doing this podcast really gave him a head start when he started to take my boat test. I mean, overnight he had a lot of new clients because of the relationships we built, and what we have built. I mean, the four of us, we're very active in the water sport community. We can launch products and immediately get on the phone. That's the hardest part, is get on the phone with people that have trusted us over the years, and will give us an opportunity to pitch them. And that is extremely hard, especially in our industry, is to have those relationships and that trust to go in and do demos. Like, I'm in a very competitive space with reservation systems. I might not always get the sale, but most of them will at least let me in and do a demo, which just most don't even have that opportunity. So,
yeah. All right, I have another question, Kai.
Yeah.
I think I already know your answer. Mow your own lawn, or do you have a service to it?
I love mowing the lawn. Love it. Landscaping is like one of my hobbies.
Kai, I'm the same way. I mow my lawn still. That's the one thing that I will not give up.
Yeah, your wife.
But I won't do anything manual inside the house. I won't do my laundry. I won't do anything. But the lawn and the weeds and all that, that shit looks good.
Digging holes.
Everything looks good.
That's amazing. Like, I have these.
I already know what it is with you down there. What about you?
They don't let me in this HOA. Okay, they I could go out there and do it just for fun, but I wouldn't get any trimmings. They would already have it done, So I used to at my old house. We didn't have a service, but here the whole community does. So I actually liked mowing the lawn. Okay, it's good exercise. You get outside for an hour, put the headphones on, you throw on the Awkward Watersports Guys podcast. By the time you're done mowing the lawn, you've listened to an episode, you've gotten value, and your lawn looks pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would you always hear this, like this sort of like this idea of like, I don't know if you guys ever see these like business influencers and like their morning routine, and you know, I love it, man. Like it is so like a little what do you call it? A guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
That like the guys that are like yeah, I'm sure you saw the one going around where he's like, yeah, me and my wife get up at 4 a.m. and then we do an active meditation and then we do a chakra alliance. Like you got this like whole thing, like, and then it was funny before the thing. Like I was being totally facetious about the ROI on college because it's just always such like the entrepreneurial landscape or whatever, guys that are pitching to small businesses or solopreneurs or whatever. They're always like, oh, college is such a huge waste of time and energy and money. And I'm always just like, bullshit. Man, I know some really successful, really smart entrepreneurs that went to college and have a basic understanding of how to use their computer and Excel and all of these things where, you're like some guy with a hammer or something and you're just like, yeah, do a Google for me and get me out there and just have absolutely no clue. I think I would love for my kids to go to college, but
yeah, I mean the main thing about college is the network, right? Like,
right.
Like you get like, sure, the classes are great. Like you learn a lot, but like you learn how to deal with other people. You learn how to deal like as an adult, be in the world, like learn professional manners, how to interact with people, but it's true, right?
You could tell I didn't go to college, Kai.
It was kind of a good thing, but like, I think that's, and you just have this network. Everyone I knew from starting my business on were people I knew in college. My business partner, our first investors, they were all from like my network that I learned there. If I would have had so much harder time just coming out of high school, working like a working class job and then going to try to raise money to start a trolley pub business, it would have been so much harder because who would I call? I wouldn't know people, I wouldn't have a big network to lean on.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to lean on my network, but the guys in jail, they didn't like have as much money as you think that they would.
They're broke.
Come on, man. You're in here for selling dope, man. You gotta have some money.
It's a different sort of business. Their financing,
I didn't
terms
go to jail.
Are very strict.
To Kevin's point, I think half the people who started a boat rental business like have come from a marijuana dealer industry.
Why is it always got to be boat rental? Boat rental, water sports. Yeah, there's a lot of small businesses, especially in this industry where, and it's kind of telling because like, look at both you guys both went to college. Buzzi, I know you leverage your network from college, and it's like you guys both came in from a mindset of like, all right, franchise. Okay. So like for all intent and purpose, you guys are considered a small business, but like just a single small business with one location or even trying to do multiple locations is incredibly difficult. And to this point, like when I wanted to open up a second location nowhere near, Kai was the first person I called and he explained to me about like how vesting structures work. And I didn't know what that even meant. I like went to my closet and I was like, I don't know a single vest. I don't know how I'm going to make this work.
Cut the sleeves off. Yeah. On a schedule, every hour you cut another sleeve off.
It was so funny. I was actually looking at Cove Hill Partners, Greg, the private equity that owns Calcami, and they had all these like stock images of like at Cove Hill Partners, we're a diversified fund that does X, Y, and Z. But like in every picture, there was a guy wearing a vest, and I was like, now I know what it means. Now I get what Guy was saying.
You don't
interest invest,
Kevin. Kevin, you're one of the smartest people I know. I mean that seriously. But obviously,
I appreciate it.
You don't have to go to college to be smart, But like, if you have the option, right? Should I go or should I not go? I think for most people, the answer should be you should.
I agree. Yeah, continuing education, and I think we live in we live in such a opportunistic time where you really can, but I think where you can learn so much, right? But I think like college is more so like, well, yeah, sure, you can take a course on, crocheting or whatever instead of getting a degree in crocheting and pay, 1/10 of the cost. But I think where college comes in is besides just a network, it's like teaches you that, well, you can't just sign in for your crocheting class. Like you have to physically show up and you have deadlines and you have criteria and you're quite literally graded on your performance, much like you are in the free market. So
a lot of times kids are just not ready too. They're just not ready to be an adult yet. I mean, 18, 19, that's young,
Yeah, you need this like middle period before you get thrown into the world. Just like, oh my God.
Just don't spend $150,000 in college to get a liberal arts degree.
Yeah.
I mean, do something that actually can give you some life skills.
I mean,
don't get your doctorate. Don't become a doctor and then like work as a dockhand after you pay like $300,000 in student loans. Like get a job that's worth what you go to school for.
Is this whole podcast going to be like, how many people listening are in high school right now trying to decide whether to go to college?
No, he's just
right. I just hear these stories of like these kids. I can't pay my student loans. Does that happen?
That you have dockhands who have doctorates?
No, but it's just a point of reference. Like you hear these stories, you hear these people on social that complain about their student loans, but they're working as like a restaurant manager. I'm like,
our manager, our dock manager, and like head all around just, I mean, he's got his captain's license, he's a mechanic, but his degree is in computer science. And he's like, I would rather slit my own throat than sit behind a desk staring at a screen all day unless it's a video game. So he has a passion for it. But again, just the hardest worker, the highest paid, and every time that he comes up with an idea, or I would say 8 out of 10 times. Sometimes I got a veto, and I'm like, I know you want to reinvent the wheel on this, like one thing, but I'm like, but most of the time, I mean, he just has great ideas and he has great execution. And I've even asked him, I'm like, man, do you plan on like doing your thing one day? And he was like, yeah, probably not. I just prefer to have like a regular job and a regular life. But I mean, you hear about that often, but I think like when you take like you guys, somebody like you guys who took what you learned in college and then also apply it to your vision, I think you got a pretty dangerous individual there because they're already coming out of college. And if they have a dream of being an entrepreneur, then they already know what it means to execute. So I'm a huge fan, but I think we have I think of quite a few of I know a few of my guys listen to the show. So there could be some teenagers out there listening.
I think that's the story though. Like entrepreneurs come from all sorts of backgrounds. You know what I mean? Like we've had a lot of people on the show. Like everyone has a different story that got them where they are today. And it doesn't always have to involve college, but people are going to learn from something, right? Whether it's from their life experiences or formal training or whatever. But if you look at successful entrepreneurs, even within our industry on this microcosm, you get people from all sorts of backgrounds. People that used to be chefs, people who are formally trained, people who worked their way up. One of the most successful franchisors I know is Justin Strickland, who started Strickland Brothers 20-Minute Oil Change. He started off as like a Jiffy Lube oil change technician, no college whatsoever. Got a loan from his grandfather for like $20,000, opened his first shop. 5 years later, he opened 250 franchise locations, was EY Entrepreneur of the Year for the Southwest. I mean, just absolutely crushed it. The guy was literally turning wrenches 7 years earlier. So like an entrepreneur can come from anywhere. The important part is that you learn and apply the lessons you learned in your life experience, regardless whether it's formal education or not.
I think the most important thing that you can do is join a trade group. Like I look at the Awkward Watersport Guys community, like it's a trade group, really. I mean, unofficially, but join a trade group, learn from other people, and then, do what you need to do. Start a company. I mean, grow it, hire. I mean, it's just easy. I had actually a listener question, Kevin.
Let's go.
and I think everyone here could probably answer this that has an experience. We don't typically get a lot of listener questions, but the question we got today, I'm not going to mention the person's name because I think they're going through it. Kevin, you're familiar with the situation, but how do you handle an employee that steals from you? Kevin, you told me you had a situation, and I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you did. I thought you handled it well.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, I'll ask our guests. Have you guys ever caught anybody stealing? Kai, are you
no.
Are you privileged to talk about that, Kai?
I mean, it happens all the time. I don't know. I've been in business 13 years at least.
In general, I mean, how do you handle a situation like that with a guest, or not a guest, but an employee?
Yeah, it's a tough one. I think there's a lot of like random factors that tie into that. Like, how long has that employee been with you? What's their position? Mm-hmm. What did they steal? Right? Like, you stealing one of Kevin's pencils, or are you stealing, one of Kai's boats? Like, there's a big difference.
Let's say it's more of like financial stealing, like stealing money, maybe overstating their hours, those type of things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm fast to hire, faster to promote, and fast to hire, faster to fire, fastest to promote, right? So if someone does that to me, they're getting the out, and two, they're probably getting sued depending on what happens.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean, I think it depends on the amount, but I've had everything from like managers charging in fast food on the company card all the way up to people writing like fake checks to people having friends access accounts to try to make it look like they're not stealing. So maybe I've just had more experience with this, but had it happen quite a few times. But
how do you handle that? I mean, this is a good topic because you guys have like multiple locations.
Yeah.
So do you have any certain protocols to prevent stealing?
Well, yeah. I mean, the general sentiment is you want to make it hard for people to do the wrong thing and easy to do the right thing, right? You don't want to tempt people. So paying people enough is a big part of it, right? You don't have like a full-time manager not getting a lot of money where it's going to be really tempting to take cash for tours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. And then also having them knowing that you're watching and doing good bookkeeping makes it harder for them to be tempted to steal, right? You want to make it hard to do the wrong things in the first place. So all the incentives should be towards transparency, towards people not knowing that it's hard to pull one on you. Because at the end of the day, you want that for them. You don't want them to have to compromise their morals for that. And so I do think it's different when people are stealing because of a need, right? Like they're just like, oh, I got to buy groceries, so I'm going to have to write myself a check and forge a signature, versus like somebody stealing opportunistically because they think they can get away with it. No matter what, they're fired. It says something about someone's attributes when they do something like that, and attributes don't change. Anyone willing to steal a small amount, I think, is willing to steal more. But you do need to look at like, it depends. Like what exactly happened. I mean, they're going to be fired no matter what. But like, what do you do the next step? If it's $200, you're going to report it to police? Probably not. But you might want to change some policies to help keep that from happening again. If it's 2,000, yeah, I'm calling the cops.
Yeah, I think if it's in the thousands, you have to.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to call the cops. I mean, if it's a family or a very close friend, then that's a really tough call to make. Like, that's why, we go back to that whole, thing about not hiring your best friends or not making your best friends your family. But a lot of times that's what happens, especially in small businesses.
Yeah. You gotta set those ground rules.
I would tend to feel like, $2,000, I might not put a case on somebody, but I might fuck them up. You know what I mean? I might beat them down in the parking lot. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of keep it hood. I don't really, I could like, cause the $2,000's gone. It'd be hard for me to put a case on somebody. I mean, ours was a little bit different. He was pocketing tips, not splitting it with the crew. And to me, that was worse than stealing from me.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you'd have took $50 out of the register, you still would have been fired. But, and this is like, a way, way back guy, and so I was like, there's nothing I can do, man. I'm like, we're a team here. And, we've been right alongside each other, picking up trash, doing gas runs, doing the smallest things. And you know what I mean? Like when I was working right alongside you, I never even kept a tip. Like I didn't even take a salary for the first 3 years. And so for you to take from your team, to me, is like probably the worst thing you could do. Take a boat out with your friends or something like that off the clock, and something like that. I'm not gonna be like, oh my God, you're fired. I know how it goes. But yeah, I don't know that I would even really want to go through putting a case on somebody or charging somebody or go through all that. I mean, I don't know. It'd have to be a lot of money because at the end of the day,
because the attorney fees are going to be. It has to be if it's a family or friend. I'm most likely going to eat it and just try to say, hey, if you can pay me back for it, then great. You're definitely not here anymore. You're gone.
Yeah.
And the chances of you getting it back, you take them to court, they get a felony charge on them, something like that. Now, I would be more apt to customer fraud. Well, now we'll follow up. We'll follow up with theft of services, which we just had, which was really funny. I listened to the call from one of my managers and was like almost scared. And the guy was like, "Oh yeah, man, that was my girl. Oh, she was over in that another country, man. What's it called? Yeah, she was in Jamaica." And I was like, "I'm like your girlfriend was in another country and you didn't know the name of the country?" Like the whole call was hysterical. But so let me ask you this. I talked to you off air about it, Justin, but I just want to cover a wide range of things because obviously we're not trying to recreate what you guys do on the Get Up and Scale thing, but could you talk a little bit about your recent experience? Like you had some pictures. You were with Gary Vee at the New York Stock Exchange. Like you did like a networking thing with Gary Vee, and it looked super dope, man. How did that work out? What was that like?
Yeah. So I'm still in the middle of it. It's a 120-day. They're calling it like a high performance accelerator program with Gary and a couple of his staff and 10 other people that are 6 are entrepreneurs and 4 are C-suite Fortune 500 company execs. So there's 10 of us kind of going through this program. And there's one thing I've learned like along the years is that betting on myself has always worked out. And so it's like one of those things that, it's a pretty penny to be involved with this, like, more than $25,000. And so spending, a chunk of change for a 120-day program to hopefully better yourself and better where the business is betting on yourself. And I think like the cool thing that's coming out of it is the people that I've already met, similar to back to Greg's point of like this community that you guys have built, like the people that I've met from just this first month of doing this program is pretty incredible. And those relationships, I think lifetime value of those relationships will definitely be worth what I spent to be a part of the program. But just like actually learning from people that are so much smarter than you at the thing that you want to do is what I think is super important. I feel like even like sometimes, going to like a rival, I feel like I wish there was more people that I could ask higher level questions to that are actually doing it, like they're actually deep doing it. And I feel like Gary Vee is one of those people that's actually doing it, like actually spending the time, spending the money on marketing, has a 2,000 plus person marketing business, and being able to have the access to ask those questions directly and get the feedback directly from him and his team and so on and so forth and their connections. Like, to me, that stuff is invaluable. And those are the kind of rooms that I want to be in.
How's his NFTs doing?
How's anyone's in it? How are those Based Fish Mafia doing? All NFTs
I sold
right now.
Let me tell you, I sold a bunch of them. I made 1.3 ETH. I don't know who in their right mind would buy them. Yeah, you see, Bored Apes is crazy. About single digits now. They're like 9 ETH.
Wow. So that's another thing I hear like quite a bit, right?
What, NFTs?
Like no. Like and not that I'm against betting on yourself in any way, shape, or form. But it's in my very humble opinion, right? That like I don't know how many more, and you guys are in the franchise game, so I mean you probably see it more than I do. Like, but I don't know how many more Colonel Sanders there are, right? I don't know how many more Jiffy Lubes there are, right? But what I do know is that there's going to be things like self-autonomous driving car taxis, what have you, right? So like the landscape, like I very much am interested in what AGI presents over, let's say, the next 10 years. And so this is why I think we're in such an interesting time where, like, for example, I looked into if I would have, instead of putting $100,000 and starting Destiny Water Adventures versus putting $100,000 into NVIDIA in 2017, right? I mean, I mean, I would be like,
hindsight. That's an easy call.
Like, now listen, I don't know if you guys have seen this collection of used pontoon boats that I have, and they are quite the investment. But I look at Galloway, right? And he put $1 million into, I think it was $500,000 into Apple and $500,000 into Uber, maybe. And obviously, he is a multi-billionaire. So sometimes I ask myself what the next 10 years of business is like, right? So there was actually another reason why I asked about the cutting your lawn, because I'm like not in the far too distant future, there's going, and if there don't already exist, but there will be autonomous self-mowing lawnmowers. And some company is going to spin these things up, and there will be probably...
they have those, by the way.
They do, and they will never cut the grass as good as Kai and I do.
Right. So I hear you on that, right? But at the same point in time, like as robotics advance, as machine learning, like how easy will it be for you to take a picture of your yard? You won't even have to measure it, and you're going to be able to hit a button, and this thing's going to like whatever kind of mind-blowing advancements we see in robotics and AI. All this massive platform shift that we're seeing is going to produce just more trillion, 2 trillion, 3 trillion, $4 trillion companies. And I'm a little bit older than you guys. I'm 45, and I'm sort of the mindset, like at this point in my life, right? 3 kids. I, like you, Kai, have been grinding it out for a very long time, man. A very long time. And not owning my own business, but running a business for somebody else for 10 years and then doing this for the last 7. And I ask these questions because it's like, unless I go back to college and get a computer science degree, right? Like, at what point can you take, is it easier or not necessarily easier, because it's really difficult to hit those unicorns, but what are you more likely to get a higher return on your investment by either betting on the future and some of these companies that are coming, or, and I'm going to put this to a question for you guys, people that are trying to scale small businesses. What are your thoughts on that? Justin, Buzzi, let's go with you. I know it's an involved one.
I like to, when it comes to like investing or just anything, like I like to start at the end and look backwards at like what would make this a success. Is it the monetary amount? Is it the journey? Is it, what is it for that person? That answer is so different for everyone. The reason I enjoy betting on myself is because I enjoy the process and the journey and the networking and going out there, meeting people, all of those things. I'm not necessarily doing it because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to get 100x return on this, So I think for those people that are wanting to scale and grow and whatnot, like you have to look within and figure out why it is that you want to do that. And if you don't really have a good reason of why, and if it's just monetarily, like it's probably not going to last super, super long. I think all of us have like a little bit of that thing in us that like that drive that makes us do it for 17 years straight, right? Like there's something in us all that inherently like makes us want to wake up every day and do this, whether it's your team, whether it's your family, whatever that reason is, like we all have that in us. So I think it's just up to the individual person to look at what they have inside them and see what the end goal is and try to find if those two things align. And if not, then scaling is probably not for that person.
You can't go wrong when you bet on yourself. If you list out all the things you've invested in your whole life, I'm pretty sure that real estate and your own businesses are probably the two things that did fairly well. Yeah. All the other shit probably didn't do that great.
Control, right? Like
control, exactly. Yeah.
You can control your own destiny. Like when you invest in someone else's company, you have no say in what happens next. But no one's going to treat your money better than you, right? Mm-hmm. When it's when it's putting dinner on the table for your kids, when those are the stakes, you're going to work your ass off to make your business successful, right? Like most businesses are run by work for hire. Whether like large corporations or whatever, people are getting paid to run their business. But if something goes wrong, they're going to be fine, right? No one works harder than when things go wrong, they're going to live in a box, and that's the position you put yourself in when you're an entrepreneur. So yeah, you're going to treat your money pretty good, but I also don't think they're mutually exclusive, right? Like you can treat your business like you would treat a salary and invest a certain percentage of the profits you make for your small business, whether you're making 40 grand a year or 400,000, you put 20% away towards investments and diversify it like anything else, right? You can invest in other companies and own a business at the same time. Mm-hmm. But I would say like there are other benefits to business ownership than just like return on investment, right? The biggest is like lifestyle. Having control of your time is extremely valuable. So if you could choose to have like a normal desk job, where you work 40 hours a week and you get like 3 weeks of vacation or whatever, and 401k and all this stuff. Or you can choose and you get paid like, let's say 120k, or you could choose to be a business owner and you make 80, but you get to make your own schedule. You can go on vacation when you want. You can choose your own destiny, right? You get all the tax write-offs. I was like, yeah, business ownership is better because your time, flexibility, not having someone who can lord over you and tell you what to do and stress you out all the time. It's worth a lot of money, just the freedom that comes with business ownership. Yeah. To me, at least, that freedom is everything. Once you taste it, you can never go back, right? Like, can anyone here like imagine going and working for someone else, like a normal job?
Yeah, I went to work at 10 a.m. the other day, like just because I wanted to. I wanted to take a little extra time in the morning. Like you just can't do that
until 11 a.m. Greg. God damn, you got there early.
Oh, I wish I could do that.
Yeah. Well, we're getting kind of towards the end of the show.
Oh my God, is it really 54 minutes, man? I thought we could have so much more to go. Why do we have to end this? I love this conversation. This has been the best show we've had. Normally it's just like Greg and I'm just like, doing my thing, saying outrageous stuff because
sidetracking.
Oh God, any way humanly possible to not talk about water sports, I'll be like, let's talk about something. I will tell you when you boys get into 100, I think yours is a little different though. Like we've really stayed niche. Like Greg makes sure to keep us on point. I watch his brain going, and he's like, God damn it, man, how am I gonna wrangle what Kevin just said and try and put this into a teachable moment? Like, okay, boys and girls, make sure you watch who you partner on podcasts with. This has been another episode of the Awkward Watersports Guys. Yeah,
aptly named.
I think I'll take this from a different. I'm going to take this from a different perspective, especially to take it back to water sports. This being the only business I've ever run, I also feel like I'm like, man, if I was just, but it's difficult, right? Because let's just say like you spin up a gym or you spend like water sports. It's like a lot of times you build it and they will come, right? You build it and they come. There's a lot of businesses that start and they're like, man, how do we bring money through the door? Like, that's like the biggest question. Like, trust me, I've got a couple other ones that I'm like, oh my God, this is so much harder to sell than water sports, right? But with water sports, like without owning the property, having landlords, having regulation, like, trust me, there's some times where you guys are like, oh man, like this journey's been great. We don't have any bosses. I'm like, man, I got like state senators that are my boss. I got councilmen that are my boss. I have a landlord that's my boss. Like, and I think that's probably like 80% of the constituency of this audience is constantly, we're constantly battling a war for margins. Like insurance it's not like E&O. They're not like, oh yeah, just give us $900 and you're good for the year. It's like, wait a minute, how much did you do in gross revenue? Yeah, same thing with your landlord. Well, we want a chunk of it. Every time you turn around, there's somebody that wants to do like some kind of wonderful rev share model for them. And I'm like, man, this is fantastic. This is a fantastic deal for you. But for those of us that actually got to get out there and grind, like, I mean, as a small business owner, if you do not have the ability to scale, you are buying yourself a job. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think what you guys are doing is really cool and really awesome. I'm a big fan of the concept. I'm a fan of the show. I appreciate you guys coming on and sharing some of your insight. And yeah, you guys should definitely go out and listen to Get Up and Scale, because if you do not want to buy yourself a job, listen to these two boys right here.
Cool.
Thanks, Kevin. Means a lot.
Yeah, of course, man.
Big fan of the show. Big fan of the Awkward Water Sports community. Honestly, it's been very insightful for me. And I've loved getting to know everybody. So I'm honored to be
two better good-looking guys than us and smarter doing a show about like scaling water sports. Like who'd ever thought?
Not a bad idea.
All right. Well, hey, we appreciate everyone listening in. Don't wait too long to get your tickets. We have only 50 tickets left for the Watersport Conference in October. Go to watersportpodcast.com. Click the link for the conference and get your tickets, book your rooms, and we'll see you in St. Augustine. All right. As always, keep it awkward.